Thank you very much, Madam Chairman. Attorney General Pruitt, good to see you again. Oklahoma is a fossil fuel producing energy state. Attorney General Morrissey, the state of West Virginia, like the state of Wyoming, is a coal state. All of our states are particularly hit by the slew of proposed EPA rules aimed squarely at the fossil fuel industry and the folks that work in that industry. I'd like to highlight a letter from the governor of my home state of Wyoming, Governor Matt Mead, to EPA Administrator Gina McCarthy on April 28th of this year, and I ask that the governor's letter be entered into the record, Madam Chairman. Thank you. In this letter, the governor highlights a recent study by the Center for Energy, Economics, and Public Policy at the University of Wyoming entitled The Impact of the Coal Economy on Wyoming. It was published in February of this year. And I'd ask also that this study be entered into the record.
Without objection.
Thank you. The governor states about the study that the study determined the single largest threat to Wyoming's coal industry is EPA's Clean Power Rule. In fact, the study says that the 111D climate regulation has the potential to drastically decrease Wyoming coal production. Coal output under the most favorable production circumstances decreases by 32% of the 2012 production by the year 2025. The study goes on to say, even in the best case, impact modeling of the 111D scenario suggests a loss of over 7,000 jobs across the state by 2025 relative to the employment in 2012. It also says overall proposed carbon regulations result in a predicted decline in the state's combined coal and natural gas revenues of between 36% and 46% by 2030. So our state is finding that this rule will cost thousands of good-paying jobs, will drastically slash state revenue that pays for college scholarships, schools, medical emergency services, road safety programs, environmental protection programs, water quality services, veteran services, other vital services. Wyoming children, seniors, veterans, fish and wildlife, they don't deserve, I believe, this dramatic cut in revenue by the EPA. So I find this is recklessly irresponsible, where the costs are so clear and devastating and the benefits are theoretical or unknown. So my question to the two of you is this: are these statistics and findings similar to what you're seeing and you're concerned about in your states? And how will essential services, state services for children, seniors, as well as the environment be impacted both in Oklahoma as well as in West Virginia?
Sure. So I think you raised a number of very important issues. We have obviously received a great deal of feedback from coal operators, from power plants, from coal miners in the state of West Virginia about the devastating impact of these rules. But there are a couple other implications as well. For instance, West Virginia, as its tax base, relies very heavily on coal severance revenues. If you were to look at a chart and examine some of the revenues that come into each of the counties from 2011 to now, you'll start to see a very rapid decline. Just recently, we've seen news publications about a number of people that were laid off in the counties because the coal severance tax revenue had declined. The regulations here have far-reaching implications well beyond coal operators. The fact is, for every job that you have related to coal directly in West Virginia, there are probably 7 jobs that tie in indirectly. It has a fundamental impact on our economy. And that's just one of the many reasons why our office has been focused so much on this, because it would be an absolute travesty to finalize a rule that ultimately has a real likelihood of being struck down in the courts.
So the regulations have a direct impact on the people and the quality of life of the people of your state?
Without a doubt. I mean, as you're looking at these issues, there are always a wide variety of reasons that give rise to a particular decision by a power plant operator or a mine operator to change employment status, but regulatory burdens is always very high on that list.
And Senator, if I could add to General Morrissey's comments, though we do not have a robust coal economy, we do actually have coal in the state of Oklahoma. We're vertical in our energy diversity. I think what is lost in the debate at times is the impact on consumers, those that will be consuming electricity in the future. In the state of Oklahoma, between coal and natural gas, 78% of our electricity is generated. As I indicated in my opening comment, 15% of our electricity is generated through wind. The choices available to the state of Oklahoma to comply with this mandate from the EPA of reducing CO2 by over 30%, it puts us in a position of having to make decisions about the shuttering of coal generation, which, as I indicated, makes up over 40% of our electricity generation. That's going to increase costs substantially to consumers. Just one rule, to give you an example. In the Clean Air Act, there is something called the Regional Haze Statute, as you know, section of the Clean Air Act. That one rule alone, between PSO, Public Service Company of Oklahoma, and OG&E in the state of Oklahoma, have seen 15 to 20% increases in their generation of electricity with just one rule. When we combine all these others, it's going to be obviously substantially more than that in the future for consumers in the state of Oklahoma.
So these regulations would directly hurt the people of Oklahoma.
Some of the folks that can least afford it.
Thank you. Thank you, Madam Chair.